It's dark, it's gloomy, it's raining and the jackets are out. Well, but it's nice and warm inside the theatres where people are enjoying the movies. Hello and welcome to the coverage of the Cannes Film Festival right here from the mecca of all film festivals in the world. One of the big attractions at the festival this time was the presence of Tom Cruise and of course the whole crew of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which premiered here at the Cannes Film Festival. Now every year at the Cannes Film Festival you have a film, a mainstream film from Hollywood that premieres. Last year it was Furiosa, the Mad Max movie. Well, a few years ago they had Dial of Destiny by Indiana Jones, which didn't go down very well. And then in the 90s they also had Godzilla as the closing film at the Cannes Film Festival. If you think it's only about serious art house cinema, well, there is much more to it than just that. When Tom Cruise showed up at the Cannes Film Festival this time for the premiere of Mission Impossible, well, expectedly thousands of people showed up to catch a glimpse of the man himself. Well, it's only at the Cannes Film Festival that you see a film like Mission Impossible being sold out, and also a serious film by somebody like, say, Julia Ducournau. A film Alpha is being screened, which was sold out again in absolutely no time. But coming back to Mission Impossible, well, the whole cast and crew, including Simon Pegg, the director Christopher McGuire, they were all here, and of course they had a rousing welcome. As for the film itself, well, it's 169 minutes, but it's supposed to be the last film. Well, I say supposed to be because we don't know if there's going to be another Mission Impossible. But as for now, this is going to be the last film in the installment, and it clocks a good almost 3 hours. Now, this is the sequel to Dead Reckoning, which came out in 2023, and of course there are several flashbacks from the previous movies as well. This is the 8th film, mind you. It started back in 1996, and there are flashbacks and references to many of the previous Mission Impossible films. And of course there is one character who had a very small role in the first film, but the scene in which he was involved is of great significance, and he also makes an appearance in this particular installment of Mission Impossible. Now you might wonder, why would somebody go to Cannes to watch Mission Impossible when it's going to release in theatres this week and worldwide next week? Well, cinema is a collective experience, and watching movies with people is how cinema is meant to be seen. And it doesn't get any bigger than the Grand Theatre Lumiere, which has 2,300 seats. So you can imagine 2,300 people clapping, whistling, making noise all together. And in fact, when Tom Cruise first came on scene, well, you would think that Salman Khan made an appearance in a single screen theatre, the way people were clapping and whistling. And of course, this year at the Grand Theatre Lumiere, they've also installed Dolby Atmos, which is a state-of-the-art sound system. And well, it is to be heard and seen to be believed, the kind of experience that you have at the Grand Theatre Lumiere. As for Mission Impossible, the film, well, it's a terrific fun ride. As I mentioned, it's about 169 minutes, it's long, there's lots of action. Well, that's what you expect when Tom Cruise is around. And I must say that the way it started back in 1996, no one would have expected Tom Cruise to still play the character of Ethan Hunt 30 years later. But he is older, he's wiser, and he's definitely much more fitter than probably he was 30 years ago. And Mission Impossible, the franchise itself, the first film was directed by Brian De Palma. And after that, we have seen some big names like John Woo, J.J. Abrams, who were involved in the making of the Mission Impossible films. But I think since Christopher McGuire came on the scene, he has given it a different turn altogether. The action has been slicker, the story has also been tighter, and I think Christopher McGuire as a director not only thinks as a filmmaker, he also thinks as an audience. He knows how to hide the weak parts and strengthen, or rather focus on the strength of the film. Well, the plot of this film is rather complicated. We saw in the previous edition of Dead Reckoning the way it ended. Now it's Tom Cruise who plays Ethan Hunt. He has to save the world from World War III or World War IV or the destruction that Entity. Now Entity is an artificial intelligence program which has gone rogue, and it wants to control the whole world. The Entity wants to use the nuclear arsenal of one country against the other and destroy the whole world, and hence after that take control of it. Now Ethan Hunt has to stop that. Well, first he has to find the source code of the Entity. Now the source code of the Entity is hidden in a ship, and nobody knows the location of the ship. And after that he has to use another toxic element to destroy the source code, which in turn will then destroy Entity. Now you might wonder what kind of mumbo jumbo is this: Entity, source code, toxic code and all those things. But the way they managed to pull it off is quite impressive. I think this is clever and smart filmmaking, is where they don't take certain things too seriously and they focus on what works for it. What works for it is of course Ethan Hunt and Tom Cruise, the character that Tom Cruise plays. And you see lots of Tom Cruise in it. You see him running, you see him on a plane, in a plane, jumping off a plane and all that. So the usual thing that you see Tom Cruise do in other Mission Impossible films, you see more of that in this edition of Mission Impossible. And I quite enjoyed it as a fun film. Those death-defying stunts is quite amazing. Well, it reminds me of what Dharmendra said in Johnny Gaddar. It's not about the age, it's the mileage. And stay tuned, we have lots more action coming from the Cannes Film Festival, but right now it's goodbye from me.